We're talking to goalkeeper Ethan Ross at Altrincham Edgerton training ground prior to departure for Woking on Saturday. Ethan, you've been with us a few weeks, but this is the first interview with you. So, on behalf of everybody, belatedly, a very warm welcome to Altrincham, and it is warm on a day like this. Of course, we saw a little bit of you before you signed when Stockport County had the pre-season friendly at Alty. Did you have any inkling at that stage that this might develop?
I think this has always been a club where there's always been that little possibility of it happening during my time at Stockport. I think that it potentially could have happened last year. I ended up going to York and had a really great season and enjoyed it. But yeah, no, there wasn't an inkling really. I was just happy just training and just playing as much as I could at Stockport at the time. And yeah, it's just funny how quickly football moves. It just moves so quickly. So, but yeah, I'm really happy to get it all done and to be here. It's a great club.
So at that stage, were you thinking that there's a League Two campaign ahead of you?
Yeah, well, it's one of them where I was very much just focusing on just getting myself really fit and just getting me match and me training sharpness back. Because at the end of last season with York, I had a couple of concussion injuries which kept me out for a while. So it was a extended summer, if you know what I mean. So it was one of them where I was making sure that I was getting really fit in training and just focus on not so much just on myself, but just trying to get myself back to the levels where I was at last season. I wasn't overly thinking about who I was going to be playing for at any point. But like I said, it moved very quickly when it came about, and I'm really happy that it did.
I was going to say, how did it change? Were you just got a call and say, would you fancy this?
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, I know a few lads here anyway. I've played against the gaffer a lot of times. I think this is probably the one club where over my loan spells that I've had, even back in the days when I was at West Brom in the Conference North or Worcester, I played against Alty so many times. So I've come up against the gaffer a lot, and I know how the gaffer, that sets up and likes to play and stuff. So it was one that, I know Goldie really well as well. Me and Matt have known each other a long time. His dad was my goalkeeper coach at West Brom. Matt actually lived with me for a little while as well. So we've always had a close connection, and once it was sort of realised that this could be a thing, I jumped straight into it.
What was he like as a lodger, Matt, or were you lodging with him?
No, he was great actually.
Was
he
he?
was really great. Yeah.
Did you do a show of washing up?
No, he was great actually. He used to make me an omelette every morning, so I really appreciated that at the time.
Set you up for the day.
Yeah, no, he was great. But we've known each other a long time, probably about eight years now, and I think it was a natural progression for me just to come here and work with him again, because I think his dad really helped us improve when I was younger at West Brom. He treated me like one of his own almost in a way, and that I really needed that at the time, and that really helped me improve my goalkeeping. But as a person as well, it really helped me improve. And me coming here and being around Goldie every day again is great. I think I knew coming here the sessions would be good. I know exactly what he's about. I've worked with him for so many years in the past, so it was like a natural progression and a good step for me to take.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, but just quickly before I forget, it's interesting that you say about Phil Parkinson's style of football appeals to you. You can imagine an outfield player being swayed by that, but is that important for a goalkeeper as well, when the way the team plays, the way they set up, as you say?
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, I think so. I've always been really impressed with Alty as a club in general as well, not just the footballing side of things, but I've always been really impressed when I've come and played at the ground. It's always had a good feel about the club, and it's always been a club that's sort of like looking to take that next step, which I think is massive. And I think that you can see in the identity that's been built here, that isn't something that's just built overnight. That takes time. And I think you're starting to see the fruits of the labour now, sort of thing, especially this season, and especially that's what we'll be looking to do this season, and keep building on what the gaffer's already made. And if we can do that, then we'll be in a great place. But I think that Yeah, for a goalkeeper as well. I mean, there was times that on Saturday against Dagenham where I felt like a spectator second
Yeah,
half, and I
yeah.
was sat back and I was thinking I'd happily pay my
Admiring
money
that.
to come and watch this. I think it's
Yeah,
brilliant,
yeah, no,
and
that's good.
and it's really enjoyable. It's enjoyable to be part of a team that, looks to play the right way, and because it's not always the case, especially in this league.
Yeah,
There's so many different types of how teams play in this league.
yeah.
A lot of teams are percentage-based football. A lot of teams play from back to front very quickly, but we're in possession team, we're a building team, and it's nice to be part of that.
Yeah. Well, as you say about the playing going overhead, as you say about you felt that the club were trying to build and progress off the pitch as well as on, and that's really accelerated recently. Be aware of it, I guess. I mean, we've appointed a chief executive for the first time in the club's history. Another off-field appointment that's going to improve the day-to-day running of the club as well. And now there's this big news about the investment that's come in. So it's a club that wants to go places.
Yeah, I mean, like before I signed, I'll be honest, I didn't know about any of that happening. I just took it as face value of the club, of what I felt, the gut feeling that I had from the club that I've had for, like I said, going back, I'd go as far as saying 6, 7, 8 years that I've been coming and playing at the ground. I've always been really impressed with the fans, and so yeah, I wasn't aware of any of that now, but I think that just speaks volumes about what the club's trying to do. Them small things behind the scenes that they're implementing, I think it's only going to help the club at the end of the day. And I think that to go hopefully where we want to go and where the club are talking about where they want to be, and I think they're things you need. And I think that I was really, really impressed. Like I know coming into the building that the gaff would have things very, very well organised. I know that, but if you look about at the facility that we've got here, considering the club only went full time from a part time, considering we only went full time last season, I was really, really impressed. I was taken back by it because there's football league clubs that don't have the facility we have here and get looked after the way that we do. So, like I said, I took the club at face value, but ever since I come in, I've just been pleasantly surprised every single day, and I think it's been great.
Yeah, it is a great facility, and it's where you'll be doing all your training. And now I just want to ask you about Matt, because we all know about coaches and their tactical input with the team in general and with outfield players. A goalkeeper and a goalkeeping coach, I was interested in the relationship between the two of you and what you do, because obviously on match days we see the goalkeeping coach just firing shots at you just to get you ready for the game. But what about between games? What can you just kind of describe to you what you and Matt, what Matt does to help you improve your game?
Well, like I said, we've got that relationship anyway, and I think that Goldie's been great with me over the years, even when when we've not been together at clubs. So the relationship started, like I said, when he was training at West Brom with us with his dad, and I think that he was really, really good at sort of, even back then, I think Matt would have only been probably 24, 25 back then, so probably similar age to me now, and he was great at watching clips back with me and stuff, and I think that's what he's great at during the week for me. There's not a stone left unturned in the week. The sessions early on in the week, we'll have technical based sessions Monday, Tuesday, a heavier day on a Tuesday, obviously the day off being Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday we look at tailoring the sessions down, but it's more based on what we're going to come up against at the weekend. So we've been doing work on, I don't want to give too much away, but that is
but what you might face,
more scenarios that are likely to come up on a Saturday. So and it's great because it happened on Saturday with Dagenham. Previous, there was a situation where we'd worked on it in training, and because of the actions that we'd done in training, it worked really well during the game. So I was really, really happy with that. So I know in that sense that I think the coaching from Goldie in that sense has been excellent, and I think that so when we get down there tonight, we'll be watching clips of the opposition. That's something Matt's big on as well, doing a lot of analysis on the opposition. I think it's part of the modern day football. I think that's any edge you can gain by doing that. I think it's important that you do that. But I think he's been great in that sense, and then obviously out on the pitch as well, we've got a real good working relationship, and ultimately we're pushing each other as well. And again, that stems from that good relationship we've already got.
Yeah, great stuff. Going back to when you were a kid, were you always going to be a goalkeeper? I mean, you're 6'5", you've got muscles to spare.
6.
You're the archetypal
Yeah.
modern day goalkeeper. But
Yeah.
were you always going to be one?
No, I wasn't. I was just trying to be an outfielder, but I
Did
was
you?
never good enough. The lads are getting on to me now.
That's
Yeah, I've
raised a
started.
laugh.
I've already started. Yeah, I have started. Yeah, we can cut this, can't we? So
Don't worry, we can't. It's not live. It's not live.
yeah, I do.
These lads have already been through it. So
Asking you. Go on.
When I was younger,
Yeah,
are we?
yeah.
Should we carry on now?
Carry on, yeah.
Right. Okay.
on that question, say, you quite thought you might be another Malcolm McDonald or whatever, Alan Shearer.
Yeah. No, when I was younger, I was quite a bit smaller when I was younger, so I didn't have a growth spurt or really late in me. I was probably about 17, 18, 19 even before I started actually getting tall sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, and I was still stick thin even up until probably 21, 22. So I used to fancy myself as a bit of an outfielder, yeah, but quickly realised I wasn't going to be good enough. So
was it that late when you became a goalkeeper, basically?
No, I was goalkeeping from around 11,
Right.
and there was still always part of me that thought, do I want to be an outfielder? But I think I probably excelled quicker in goalkeeping. I learned quicker. So it was one of them for me where I knew from then on, from when I started, was able to dive about making saves and stuff. I thought, I think there's more in goalkeeping.
Well, I was going to say about the art of goalkeeping and what's needed and what's required. It's really changed over the years. I mean, this is before your time. I don't know if you'd be familiar with these names or not, but there was Ron Springer, played for England many a time in the early 60s.
Yeah.
Just before him, Alan Hodgkinson.
I know.
Played for England.
Yeah.
Ron Springer was 5'10". Alan Hodgkinson was 5'9".
Was he springy? Was he a springy goalie?
Oh, he had to be, and he was.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a great shot stopper.
Yeah.
But I mean, that wouldn't happen nowadays, would it? Somebody of that height, I wouldn't have thought.
Not. You don't see it as much. I think the game's changed so much over the last couple of years, though, in terms of a lot. You need an extra outfielder effectively in goal. If you look at an example being probably Edison for City, it's very, very rare that he'll actually have to make a lot of saves, but he's so pivotal in that position in terms of City building the way up the pitch, because he's basically like having an extra outfielder, isn't he? So,
what did you have to adapt your game at any time growing up, or have those always been the requirements? As long as you can remember that you've got to talk to your defender, you've got to be comfortable with the ball at your feet.
Yeah. I think coming through academies has always helped with that, because I think obviously when you're in the academies, they're looking to create obviously better footballers. In aid of getting them to the first team or then selling them on for a fee or however. So they're obviously looking to create as good a footballer as possible. And I think that includes the goalkeepers as well. That's sort of the standard thing in academy football. So I think that's helped us, but I think that the emphasis on it has just got more and more every year in terms of being comfortable with your feet. And like we said here, we're an in-possession side, so it's something that I feel like I can do, but there's always room for improvement, and there's always stuff that I'll be working on. And I think that again, it's a good thing. It'll just make me a better goalkeeper, and that's what I want.
Were you always fairly comfortable with the ball at your feet, or is that something you're still working on?
I think
both.
I think you can. It can always be better.
Yeah.
I think that every part of your game can always be better. I don't think there's any resting on your laurels or thinking you've done a couple of good passes in the game, you think I'm the master of it, because I think football's got a funny way of finding you out if it's not quite right. I think, the minute you get too ahead of yourself in this game, you can be very quickly and suddenly brought back down to earth. So I think that it's all about polishing them sort of fine details day in, day out in training, and just working at things constantly. I think that's really important, and that's something, again, going back to Matt's coaching, that's something that we're doing every day.
Yeah, good. I mean, obviously, even if you're not 6'5", you need good reflexes as a shot stopper, regardless of your height. But with your height and build, what are the advantages? I'm thinking, is it an advantage that if you've got to get through a crowded 6-yard box for a cross, people will bounce off you, that kind of thing? Is that?
Yeah, well, I think that it changes. I think depending on honestly what league you're playing in. So I think that if I was probably being honest with myself, if I was to go and play, let's say, in a championship game for a couple of months, I think I'd probably want to be that little bit leaner, because I think there's less physical direct play. But I think in this league, it's important that you try and be as big a presence as possible, especially as a goalkeeper. And I think that I'm powerful. I can when I'm moving my feet and making saves and diving through. I feel like I'm powerful in that sense, and that's what I've always strived to be. And I think to compete physically in this league, you do need to be strong. That's every position.
Yeah.
And I think that again, there's more emphasis even put on that nowadays.
Yeah.
How much more gym work players have to do to prime the body and make sure it's right to compete Saturday, Tuesday for months at a time. And so I think that's just a standard thing across the board in terms of, especially this league now. I think it's known as a very, very physical league, and I think if you don't meet the demands, it's very tough.
It is, without a doubt.
Yeah.
We've kept you a long time, Ian, so keep you much longer. I don't want you to miss the bus.
Yeah.
But just briefly on your career, when you're what was the training as a kid at Arsenal like? Did you learn a lot from that? Did you have somebody we'll know who was helping out
so
there?
my goalkeeper coach, my first proper goalkeeper coach, was a guy called Alex Welsh.
Oh, right.
So he was he played for Gateshead back in the day, and he's a great guy. He's got his own. He's been on a few podcasts recently. He bought his own goalkeeping books out. So he was fantastic for me. He was just such a gentleman as well, and he really laid them foundations for me. And I think that I've always, when things haven't gone so well in football, I've always sort of reverted back to the coaching that he gave me from when I was young. And I think that he was heavily influenced by Bob Wilson, so I knew that it was good information that I was getting. So it was amazing. I had a great, in terms of football schooling and upbringing, I had a really great one. And obviously during my time I went on to West Brom after that, and again worked with some amazing coaches. And I think I've always learned something from every coach, whether it be one thing or 100 things. I think I've always taken something from someone. And I think that's just really helped me sort of become the sort of goalkeeper I am today, and try and moulded me into the goalkeeper and person that I am, because I think that I've always tried to take a little bit of who the person is from coaches as well. And
help you to be fairly laid back, which you seem to be.
Yeah. I like to think. Well, sometimes.
Yeah.
Most of the time. There is other times.
When your serious hat's on.
Yeah,
it's on.
Of course.
Yeah.
But no, I like to think I'm quite a laid back, relaxed person when I try to be.
Well, talking about the opposite of laid back and relaxed, what about your debut for Colchester? You remember that? As substitute?
My debut I came on at Yeovil away.
What happened for you to go on?
Yeah.
You remember?
So
I've forgotten the player's name. He was sent off for violent conduct, basically.
He kicked out, didn't he? It was I mean, if you're talking MMA, it's a great.
That's the one.
It was in MMA it would have looked decent, I think, if I can remember. I can't remember.
Well, it was 1-1 when you went on, and you kept a clean sheet because it finished 1-1.
Yeah.
But he was sent off for violent conduct, and you suddenly found yourself pitched in for your first.
No, that was it was a strange one actually, because I hadn't played a lot that year. I'd been out on loan at Maidstone for a while. I played a lot of 23s games at Colchester at the time, and it was getting close to the end of the season. And if I'm being honest, I was really disappointed with how the season sort of played out. I wanted to play more, and I always strive to do more and play more. So obviously, when you're talking 3 games to go, and I hadn't made a competitive debut, I hadn't played a game, I was disappointed. And then, and again, going back to what I said earlier, it's funny how quickly football changes, and literally within a minute I was on the pitch and throwing it the action.
Yes.
And then obviously the goalkeeper was suspended for a couple of games.
Well,
so
you kept your place next week, and you kept a clean sheet as well.
Yeah.
Again, rather. 2-0 against MK Dons.
So we played Yeovil away when I came on. We played MK Dons at home, and then we had Lincoln away. Lincoln had already lifted the title the week before, and we played well and won again with another clean sheet. So I was delighted with that. Again, football's just a roller coaster of emotions most of the time, and so I've gone from feeling like it was a bit of a disappointing season to all of a sudden, if you'd have said 10 days, 2 weeks later, however long it was, that I'd been over the moon with how it's ended. I really was, and it was a great feeling at the end of that season. Obviously, the only disappointment was we missed out on the playoffs. I think it might have been on goal difference or by a point. So that would have been a great experience, but at the same time, I wasn't sort of being greedy in my mind. I was thinking, well, I've got in now, and I've hopefully showed what I'm about a little bit.
Yeah. Well, with that, I mean, at Stockport County, you played plenty of games, but you had lots of competition. Obviously, Ben Hinchlife's a legend there, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you see this opportunity here? Would you say, Ethan? Is this do you think a real opportunity to get a full season of regular, if it all goes to plan, and fingers crossed it does for you, of regular first team football, and it could give your career another kickstart, perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much just a day by day, week by week guy.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I don't really think that far ahead. All I know is that, I've come in. I think this is exactly what I've needed at this point in my career and my life as well. I think the club just made so much sense when it became an option. So I was just really happy to get it done. And again, like I said, just take it week by week. But I'm really, really happy to be here. I really am. And just in terms of it's just fitted my whole life in terms of even with my partner and my little one, just being that bit closer to home than what I was when I was at York last year. I mean, I had a great time at York, some great lads there, and it's a fantastic club, and I can't speak highly enough of that club. But the only downside for me is it was about 4.5-5 hours travelling a day,
trek,
and it was I was missing out on a lot of time with my daughter and my missus. So I think that now being 40 minutes away, being in the car with Regan every day because we live in the same area, so it just made a lot of sense, and it was perfect for me.
I was going to say, you certainly made a favourable impression on Alty fans in the pre-season friendly playing for Stockport, and also your Alty appearances so far. It's interesting you come in with Regan, because I was going to say, have you mentioned that one-on-one stop you made from him for County against us?
Yeah.
Has that cropped up in conversation?
Yeah, he was gutted because he said because me and Regan have known each other for about a year now. So we go to the same gym. So we've always been having chats and stuff like that in the gym, and he texted me on the way back from the game saying, I thought I was going to score against my mate, but I couldn't let him. He does it in training, but he's not doing it.
You had the last word on that one.
Yeah, just
exactly,
about.
Yeah.
So I was happy with that.
Just to wrap it up, as I say, the impressions have been very favourable so far. But on the pitch, are you quite vocal? Is it important for a keeper and his defenders to be on the same page? And
it's massively important, yeah. But I think that there's you get some goalkeepers who are very, very quiet, and you get some goalkeepers who are just constantly talking. I like to think that I'd rather not be the goalkeeper who just shouts a load of rubbish for a whole 90 minutes, because it sort of loses its effect. So I think that when it needs to be, it'll be clear, sort of concise information that's actually going to help people out. Because I think, it's like when there's just a lot of noise for 90 minutes, you sort of switch off from it as a defender, and that's exactly what I don't want, because it does lose its effect then. So I'll be looking at, you'll hear me for sure. Yeah. I'm sure you'll hear me at some point when I'm needed.
When it's required.
When it's required,
it's to the point.
That's it.
For a reason.
Yeah,
good stuff. Brilliant. Thanks, Ethan, and all the best for the Woking game and for the season ahead.
Really
thanks for your time today.
Honestly, thank you. Appreciate it.